Hi everyone, welcome to Amaranth. These are general messages for the collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus and Jupiter placements. Let's get into it. So the first card you have, Gemini, for today is the Fool. This is Major Arcana and this is Uranian energy at play here for you. And this is one of the most unique decks and the cards that I have seen, with a lot of color, with a lot of vibrant energy. Even in this card, there's like a spectrum of colors: orange, rose, gold, there is teal in the background. So it's a very different take on the Fool's energy. Here there are two people instead of one, which is in the traditional Rider-Waite deck. This is a little bit different kind of energy which is portrayed out here. There are two figures in this, and for you, Gemini, you're the archetypal duality sign, third house energy for you. But here I feel these two figures that are out here, they're dancing, they're sharing the same space. And yeah, they're dancing away. It shows like, they're actually dancing. The feet is lifted up, the hands and all of that. So it's a full-on dance possession. I feel that these two figures that are shown here, one is a little bigger, one is translucent, like in the background. If you see carefully, I feel it is fully aligned with the Gemini dual energy. Even though the Fool card is number 0, that also has a huge significance. 0 is the starting point, the potential of, so much to come. But here, two figures is very much like the two parts of you. The one part of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, of course, is very analytical, or doing all the calculations and all of that. And the second part over here, which is shown for you Geminis, even though you're the air sign, I feel here is the side which is more intuitive, which is more, it feels the gut, which feels the signs, which sees the synchronicities. So a little bit of a water energy. So you may have some water strong placements, but it doesn't have to be. It may be that, you are evolving into a different person, which is more intuitive. And that happens if you have some meditation practices over a period of time. Sorry about that noise. So, yeah, this indicates both sides and both aspects of you, which over a period of time, the air signs do evolve into more intuitive. Now, the Fool energy is about taking the first step. And I feel here, you feel something, you might be drawn towards something. But sometimes the caveat with the Gemini energy is that they're over-evaluating, over-analyzing, and sometimes the plans kind of either get scattered away or they just don't launch, they don't take off. Especially with Gemini being, ruled by Mercury, there's a lot of ideas, lots of things that you would like to do, go here, there, everywhere. A little bit of a scattered energy. But here the energy of the Fool is like, you have to pick one thing and then take the first step in that. You don't have to dive with both feet in. It's just like taking one step in one direction that you will have to pick. And like I said, because 0 is the energy of potential. So whatever you will start, and that could be anything, and it's going to be different for each one of you, whether it's a project or a business or a relationship or some kind of a move or a living situation or living arrangement, whatever that is for you. There is an opportunity that you will be drawn towards, which you probably don't even know why you're drawn towards it. But I feel that when you take the first step in that direction, things will start falling in place. And that's the whole idea of the Fool energy, is to take the first step without even knowing what the outcome is going to be, where you're going to land. So there is something which I feel that you will narrow it down and you will just decide to start and take your first step in that area. And that's what the Uranus energy does. It shakes us up a little bit and then helps us to take that first, step forward. It might be scary, but then it's a new beginning, something which is which is dear to you, which you're drawn towards. Yeah, that's what I feel with this. Also, the planetary arrangements right now are supporting this move, and I feel that, the Venus is the energy of, creativity and blessings through creative work and all of that, right? Aesthetics and beauty and all the creative stuff falls under the Venusian energy, which is stepping into the Leo archetype. And Leo is all about showcasing and broadcasting. I feel that whatever direction you choose here, Gemini, I feel it will be it will be appreciated. People will see it, people will like it, people will be drawn towards it. I feel that it's going to be big and massive for you. So don't overthink it. In the tradition right away, the knapsack that the fool carries is very light. It's a very tiny bag. So here, you don't have to carry too much. You don't have to know everything about it. Don't have to overburden yourself with information and tools and knowledge and all of that. Just take your first step and go at it, whether it's a business or whether it's a training program or whether, I've heard people, they shift careers in the middle life. Like they've been working in some completely unrelated field and they make that switch either by attending some courses, getting degrees, and whatever that first step is going to be for you. And because we're entering into the summer solstice, and I've been saying this time again that the energy of the summer solstice is that of a full charge which is available for any kind of endeavor, whether it's business, social, learning, whatever that is for you. It's a highly charged time, highly supportive time. And even, it's also a pleasant time to go out there to socialize, meet new people, build the contacts, build the network, and something comes out of that for you. And of course, it is scary. Sometimes it's scary, but I feel that you're ready. And it could be that you're buying something big. It could be a first home or it could be a second home, whatever that is. For some of you, it could be buying properties that ways. And of course, it scares. Every property, no matter it's first, second, third, is different. And it scares because there could be different terms, conditions, and all of that going on. But you're still going in for it. Now, others of you might be in a more adventurous spirit. Like doing things that you have not done before. It's like even going to a place, which is small, hidden, unvisited, less people, you still want to go there. For some of you, it could be opening yourself up to different experiences, like maybe different cuisines or different places of, different dine-outs and things like that. So the underlying current is doing something which is different from what you've already been doing. And I feel that you are going to do something which is different than your normal routine. But the thing I feel with this, Gemini, is that this energy has come at a very powerful time for you. It's a very unique and a rare window, in the next 3-4 days, because as soon as the Cancer season, starts and the sun moves into it from the Gemini energy, the Cancer archetypal energy is all about nurturing and protecting. So whatever you start right now, if you do have the energy and the adventure and the courage to start something right now, this is something that you will love to nurture, you will love to take care of in the next few weeks. And, it's a nurturing process starts for that. The Cancer archetypal energy is about protection, nurturing, care, nesting. All of those things are the Cancerian fourth house energy. So this is like, it has come at the edge of the Gemini and the Cancer season where whatever you choose right now, you're almost at the edge of starting the Cancer season. But in the next few days, if you have an idea or you take the first leap forward, if you've been thinking about something for quite some time and gathering data and still have not made your mind, but now you have, take the first step, because whichever direction you do, that will become the thing or that will become the area or the thing that you will be looking after it, caring for it, nurturing it. for it to grow. And if you're worried like what's going to happen, it's like once you act, then things start to become clearer. Like once you take the first step, it might not be the right one, but at least you will understand where you went wrong, and you can always course correct, fix it, and come back on track. So things will start to get clear. The universe is just waiting for you to act. So I would say don't waste this opportunity. Go for it. Launch that site, or go buy a store, or if you're planning to start a business, go register for it or something like that. Or if you want to go to college, go look up for admission forms and all of that. Or if it's a certification, just go make the payment for the course and things like that. Those are the first steps that will actually push you forward. So these are the investments right now, Gemini, that are really going to pay off for you in the Cancerian season and even beyond that. The next card you have, Gemini, is the Spring. And the keywords written here are force brave, opening red buds of new fire, roots holding new growth, the moment before full leaf, multiple beginnings at once. So exactly, you have the Fool's energy where you are taking the first steps in a certain direction. Now, the Spring over here shows a tree, which is like a well-established tree. It's not a new tree, which means it's been around for long. It's seen several cycle seasons, and now it's heading towards spring. And very rightly so, there are buds which are not yet bloomed because they're waiting for the spring. So the energy is available, but it's the timing. It's this timing which is available to you, Gemini. You might have some, it's about having a main central system around which these different projects, they bloom. And I feel that you have been preparing for something for quite some time, and now you're ready to showcase it and bring it into the world. It could be different areas. Like, for example, if you're a working professional, and then at the same time, you have like a side gig, which nobody knows about, but you've been working on it. You've been establishing some kind of roots towards that, the solid trunk, which is shown over here, which means you have a plan, project plan, the resources, the funding, everything already. And then you've been working on it, but you've not told it to anybody. It's like you've not gone online or you've not advertised it. Now, in the spring camp, you're ready to launch that. This can also be several side gigs. Maybe you have a lot of things going on. It doesn't have to be several side gigs. It has to be several activities going on. Like, maybe like you're working, and then at the same time you have a side gig, and at the same time you're very much involved in the volunteering, in the community service, or you're also a very good cook, or you just learned how to cook so many different things, and now you want to present it to the world by inviting them over, your friends, your family. You want to just showcase it, what you've been working on. So I feel it's that kind of a vibe where you've been doing the preparation, through several seasons. You've been putting in the work, energy, establishing the funding, the contracts, the network, your skills upskilling for some of you. And now you're ready to, launch all of that in the world. It sounds like, for example, a builder who has acquired a commercial property, with all the planning and all of the resources, and there is a floor plan or the commercial space plan, and then the builder has been working towards the talking to different vendors, like who all are going to come and occupy the shops and the retail centers that are opening out there. So having those contracts signed up on paper, and all the events that are going to happen, have that come together, the website come together, and now, all of that, the stores are getting made, the restaurateurs are getting ready to bring their stuff into those stores, that they will use as retail space. And then there is another, vendor of maybe, who knows, juice is also getting ready to launch their store in that commercial space. So they're doing the advertising, they're arranging their finances. So multiple things which are going on. And if you see here in the picture, one thing which I really liked is that the buds are all red in color. You know, red is a color of Mars, of passion, of excitement. And I feel that you are excited about it. You know, you're not afraid. You are not overwhelmed. Because with so much going on, the Gemini energy kind of pulls back because it gets overwhelming and you feel like you've been scattered and pushed and pulled in different directions. But here, you're excited. You know, it's like, I'm ready. And I'm ready to showcase because I've been putting in the work. I've done a lot of work. And I want to showcase it out to the world. So for some of you, this could be different creative projects that you have been really working hard towards. Like painting, you've been working hard attending classes. And now you have so many paintings that you want to either showcase it in a museum or you want to just advertise it on a website, you know, things like that. But whatever, you know, I already said that in the Fool's energy also. Whatever you are going to start, whatever these buds are, they're going to bloom really big. They're going to grow really big, whatever ideas, you know. And the Fool energy, I feel it's all about that. Fool energy is like taking the first step forward. Like, you know, the analytical Gemini energy is all about, oh, one more thing. Let me just perfect one more thing, one more idea, one more funding, one more day, one more year, and things like that. But the Fool energy is like, you've already done the work. Go for it. Take the first step. Showcase it. You know, show it to the world. Because what's going to come out of this, you know, of course, nobody can predict. Nobody will know, but it's going to be a positive outcome because look at the number of buds, yeah? And the tree is fully loaded. So it's going to be a good bloom and it's going to be an abundant bloom. Yeah, the tree itself feels very abundant. So some of you might also be investing into, now if this is not your personal energy, it could be, you know, the environment around you. It could be a company that you work for, or it could be your just personal, you know, growth portfolio, financial investments. You could be interested in companies that are ready to bloom, that have these buds waiting to bloom, that have done a lot of work, you know, and are now ready to launch. So for some of you, you could be investing in those areas, those sectors. It could be like, you know, farming, agriculture. For some of you, could be investing into those industries as well. Or for some of you, you could be working in, I would say maybe, you know, some kind of a land development area or construction areas. You know, there are a lot of pilot programs which are going on. So for some of you, could be into that as well. Some pilot programs, maybe trying this, that, and getting the feedback and then going full on for this. For some of you, this can also be about startups, you know, that have a solid backing, which are now ready to go big. So for some of you, those could be the investment points as well, you know, where you will get good returns. Or this could be you itself who, you know, who has learned so much, who has learned so many things, you know, and especially Gemini energy, because it's all about communication, about processing media and all of that. Some of you could be getting into those areas as well. You know, it's like maybe you have your podcast, maybe you're talking, maybe you have a training company, maybe you're doing some media advertising or selling some courses online, or maybe you're just talking, you know, like TED Talks, or talking on the, you know, on the stage and, you know, talking to people. For some of you, you could be stand-ups as well. So whatever that is, you know, you've been preparing, because wintertime is where we collect everything. And then spring is the launch time. It's the double Mars energy. So I feel that the spring is here. You know, it's time for you to just take that thing forward, to release things, to, you know, whatever you've been working out, to show it to other people, to launch it into the world. The next card, you have Gemini. Actually, it's the last card for today. Gemini, you have it as a message from Cosmos, and it says heart opening. Listen. So yeah, here, opening your heart center and listening to your intuition will always lead you in the right direction. You now have the opportunity to let down the walls you have created from past wounds. Let your light shine from your heart to experience what the universe has always wanted for you. Yeah, so some kind of a closed heart chakra, which is now warming up because the spring is here, the summer solstice is here. You know, the energy of the spring, of course, we've already been through that, we're into summers, but the energy is all about popping up, you know, showing up and connecting, and that, you know, that vitality, the happiness, the energy, the fun, the talking, the laughter, all of that, and especially for Gemini energy, you're the tacos of the zodiac, the third house energy. So I feel that you're also very intuitive. You're getting very intuitive, or you're paying more attention. All of us are intuitive. It's just a matter of who listens to the intuition. I feel you're doing that right now. We already saw that with the Fool energy that you very much connected to your intuitive side as well, if you remember. So, things happen. We get hurt and we lock ourselves up and lock our hearts up. I'm seeing that lock and heart key that, we used to wear that we wear as pendants. So some of you, that could be relevant, but it's about, just letting go of the past hurts and, healing. I feel that you've already healed from that, and now you're opening your heart up, to be that adventurous spirit again, to be the childlike spirit again, to go have fun outside, meet people, So it's a great energy out here, Gemini. Those were your messages, and hope they resonated with you. So the first card you have for today, Libra, is the Empress. This is major arcana. This is absolutely your energy because it's the Venusian energy which rules Taurus as well as the Libra archetype, second house and seventh house. Now, this is in the reverse for you. Now, if you take a look at the picture, in the upright, the Empress is all about, of course, the Venusian energy is all about aesthetics and all the good stuff, the good life, the dining, the dressing, the perfumes, the fragrance, the flowers, the gardens, and all of that, right? The decor, all comes under the Venusian energy. Also, if you see the person out here, very aesthetically, she has a choker or, a nice necklace on her neck, but there is a lot of beautiful symbols out here. There is a lotus, very spiritual. She's wearing beautiful earrings, and there's a lot of pop of color in the background. So over here, in the reverse, this is an energy we just turned inwards, which means that now it's time for you, Libra, to soak it all up. It's like the seventh house, Libra archetype, is always about giving, doing, peacemaking, relationships, creating, the Empress energy, nurturing, caring for, and all of that. And I feel that, it's the time of the summers. It's the summer solstice. And summer solstice is a time which has the maximum charge associated with it. With whatever activity you pursue, it's going to supercharge you. The Empress in the reverse is about relaxation, soaking it in. Whatever you have created, whatever you have built, you are now enjoying that. For some of you, this could be doing things that you do for your own self, like you go out there, shop, or you go out there, enjoy a movie. Or if you have been, Empresses using the traditional Rider-Waite deck, there is a lot of nature themes to it. So for some of you, if you have been working on some nature projects, outdoor projects, now it's time to soak it in. Like, for example, if you build a garden, it's time to just soak it in, like sit out there, enjoy what you have created. It's that why with the Empress in the reverse. Similarly, if you're in the fashion industry, it's now time for you to use those garments that you have created, just to enjoy the things that you have built, the dresses that you have created, If you're in the media, making movies, music, now it's time to sit down and just enjoy your own music and watch your own shows that you have built, things like that, It's actually a good time because summer breaks are generally, for recharging, for taking a moment to ourselves, for enjoying and, just soaking in how far you have come, what all you have created. And it's a good time to appreciate yourself for the value add, to your own life, to the life of others, to the world in general. Even the Venusian energy, Venus is a very different planet. I was reading about it like a few weeks before that. It rotates a little differently, It rotates in the reverse direction as compared to the Earth's rotation, and the sun over there, it rises in a different direction. Like on Earth, it rises in the east, it sets in the west. It's the opposite for Venusian energy, So it's like, it's a retro, it's not a retrograde, I would say it's a reverse kind of an energy to the earth. So that very much aligns with this, It's like a time where you receive, whether from other people, let them compliment you, let them do things for you. You don't have to immediately return the favor. So I feel that you are moving into that energy where let people do things for me as well, I'm not here always, I'm always reciprocating, bending over backwards, doing more than what I receive, and now it's my time to actually receive that nourishment for myself. So self-care also is a part of it, and allowing people to care for you is also a part of it. You doing your health and wellness is also a part of it. Going to spas and enjoying your break time is also a part of self-care. It's a part of the Empress in the reverse. So taking care of your own body, mind, and soul, and not always just giving, and doing. So I feel that all of you, the Libra energy at this point in time are thinking about themselves as well, not just about, what it will do good to this, what will it bring to that. No, even when you're like, mind anything, you're like, will I like it? Will I like to wear it? If you're buying some artifact, you're like, would I like to have this displayed in my house versus how much value and materially it would be. So something that comes from your emotional space, you're doing things that resonate with your heart and soul, So it's, of course, like all of the physical aspects, taking care of your body, also, mind, body, and soul together, and not even thinking about it like a guilt-free investment in your own self, whether it's, just upskilling or just enjoying the break, going from spa sessions or, participating in crafts that actually you want to do and you create something for yourself out of it. For example, if you're in jewelry making, like you actually create jewelry for yourself. If you're in some crafts, you actually create pinning for your wall and things like that. So instead of creating crafts that you give away, you're keeping it for yourself. You're decorating your room the way you want it, creating spaces for yourself that bring you peace and calmness. For some of you, these could be investments into, and also because, Venus and in Libra and Taurus, they are opposite energies. So, complementing energies, because they're both ruled by Venus. So Venus is also about earth themes, like spending time in nature or working on land projects. For example, if you want to buy a property, if you want to buy land, you're rather buying it and creating a house that you want to live in, with all the nature and all of that you can enjoy, not for the purpose of just flipping it or selling it. You're like, no, I want to decorate it. I want to live in this house. I'm going to paint the walls my style. I'm going to create the garden my style. It's not going to be for, selling out or for flipping out. So doing things where you want to, in what you want to enjoy. And it's a good energy, I would say, because Libras get burned out, doing things for other people. So, and I feel that you have realized that, Libra, that, it's your turn to get things back. It's your turn to just take it easy. It's your turn to, focus on yourself, because you have been doing quite a lot for other people. The next card you have, Libra, is the twigs. And if you see here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 twigs. And they're all different sizes, all different shapes. Just one of them is standing out. The one that has this small little leaf or maybe a bud attached to it. It's just one, the rightmost twig. And then twigs are, they grow from trees, small branches. These are the smaller things, not the big tree or the trunk or the bark or the roots. We're talking about the smaller things that grow on the trees, in different directions. I feel that with the twigs, because they are a very small part of the entire tree structure. Twigs are really small. They keep falling, they keep growing, but they add a lot of beauty to the tree. A lot of twigs are used for decorative purposes also. We don't generally inside a house, we don't use the whole tree, big large tree for decoration. We use the small twigs for decoration because they add so much beauty, and similarly they add beauty to the tree itself. So I feel that, it's the smaller part, the smaller things, the smaller details that I feel the twigs is indicating towards. Like, what are the smaller micro things that are happening around you that I feel that you are receptive to it, you're sensitive to it, because the Empress energy in the reverse is like feeling things, energy turned inwards towards feeling, towards noticing versus external expression of it. Well, so I feel that you are definitely observing things more clearly and seeing, at the bare bones, like what is making a difference in your life. Like, for example, a restaurant. We go to a restaurant, right? I mean, a lot of restaurants will serve a similar item or a dish. What at the end of it matters is, we look at the final taste, right? But the taste comes from the small things that the chef does, mapping out the exact quantity of the ingredients, the exact temperature, the exact cook style, or sometimes even the utensil in which it is cooked, or the flame level, is it high, is it cooked on low? All of those things, they really change the final taste of it. And when we order, for example, and when we look at the final product, we understand that these small, tiny things, the ingredients, the cooking, the attention to detail is what has created this final product. And I feel a similar thing is going on for you as well. You are looking at the finer details, the things that people overlook at times, like, for example, if you go buy a house, you're looking at the smaller things versus what you're on paper. You're seeing the door handle, you're seeing the corner edges, you're seeing the smell, how does it smell? You're seeing the plants that are grown. Is it meads or is it like properly curated plants? That will speak a lot about how the property has been kept, how it has been maintained, were the owners really maintaining it from their heart and soul, or was it just a, abandoned kind of an energy, like the owners didn't care, like what's going on around the house. So you are paying attention to the smaller, finer details. And that can even be at your workplace, like you're paying attention to what people are actually saying, the intent, where they're coming from. What could they possibly be thinking when they send that? What is your boss reacting to? What is the general atmosphere? Like, if the company is getting like a merger and nobody has really announced it to you, but you're kind of picking up the smaller, the talks or the actions or behavior of people or the way things are done, something's looking different. You're picking up on the smaller nuances and you're like, something's going on at the collective, company-wide level, at the higher level. And then it turns out that a few weeks later, the merger is announced and you're like, I knew it, something was going on. So picking up on the smaller hints is something that's driving you forward now. So it's not just about the final outcome. Sorry about the noise. So it's not just about the final outcome, it's about the small things that make that final outcome really big or really enjoyable or really meaningful. It's like a project manager has to, when the project manager comes in, into a business or a corporate environment, they take care of every small, tiny detail. They have backup plans, they have, the resources assigned, and even the tasks that are assigned to the resources are those that are masters at it. They don't assign a task to a person who's just learning. So they know how to allocate resources. They know how to allocate funds. Who would get the job done in the smallest amount of time so that that piece of work does not require a huge investment of money and time. And, things like that. So those decisions at the micro level is what makes the success look big. But it requires a lot of sense, inner sense, attention to details, sensitivity to understand those smaller nuances, And I feel that that's your superpower right now, Libra. You're working at micro levels. Now, for some of you, this could be that you're trying to start up a shop, or you're trying to launch a product. But you need to learn the smaller parts of it. Like you need to learn how to market it. You need to learn how to manufacture it. You need to learn how to, support it, customer support. So all of those divisions that are there in starting a business, they need a lot of work and attention to detail. So you probably were kind of making sure that all of those divisions, you're learning everything about it so that you're able to put it together and create that big business, which is able to attend to a lot of customers and handle a lot of sales. So those small building blocks, the small things, even when, especially for you, Libra, you're like, you're a people's person, you're a very social person. And even when you're trying to organize, or maybe you're at a meeting or at an event, what makes that event more memorable is every attention to detail. Some of you could be event managers, planners, taking care of a lot of things so that the final experience is more memorable to the people. And that's the ultimate thing, what people remember, to get the maximum value out of the money. So that's it. So that's the trig energy, where you work in smaller things and one thing at a time, taking smaller steps, incremental growth, incremental investments, things that grew at a smaller level, not like, big returns immediately, or, small incremental steps, small incremental investment, and small incremental returns. Now, that can also be towards your own self, because you have the Empress in the reverse, which means you are paying attention to that at within you. You're trying to see what are the small things that I can piece together to create something big, or what are the small things that I need to pay attention to feel better, to relax, to rejuvenate. For some of you, it's like, I need to go to a party, I need to go to, I need to go play sports, I need to go watch a movie, I need to read a book, I need to, do my hair, and then that's exactly what I need. And then I'm going to, with all of that, I'm going to feel like myself. I'm going to feel like really fully rested. And I'm going to pay also sleep well. I'm going to drink some bubble tea so that I have an undistracted sleep. So those small things that is going to make the whole body feel really fine, all charged up in a few days, are the small things that you will be paying attention to. Now, that could be anything in your life. It could be any small things, or any small pieces or small areas that need, that need attention, or that you're working with. The small areas like, my friends need attention, so I'm going to give time to my friends. And also, I'm working on this. I need to give time to this. So it's that kind of an energy where you're assessing things like, what are the nuances? What is the smaller things, and how can they piece it together and make it bigger? And how will those small things, they make a value add or impact or contribution to the final big picture? It's like, for example, if you're buying a wedding event, the tables, everything about the table, it needs to match up with this, and the flowers, it needs to match up with the table and the stage. So everything collected makes a huge impact on how the wedding or how the event comes across, at the end. Even the gifts, the party favors, the dress of the bride, the groom, the how they enter, the decor of this venue. There's so many moving parts. And when it comes together, that's when it adds to the fine and full-blown experience of it. So I feel that you are paying extra attention, being very mindful at the smaller things, and knowing that, the smaller things are the ones that add up and make the final picture more memorable, more enjoyable, makes the experience more lively and worth the money. So that's a very deep understanding. You're not just surface out on things. You're going to the depth of things and piecing it all together. Even so for your finances, like maybe you're not all investing your money into one thing, It's twigs are all different baskets. So like put your eggs in different baskets, say right now in just one basket. So this could be that you're investing in, small portions into different companies and different portfolios without, having heavy investment into just one area. This can also be that you are working on your own self, your skills, upskilling. So you're learning like a little bit of cooking. You're also learning a little bit of sewing so that you're able to sew your own clothes, then you're also able to cook your own food. You're also looking after yourself, learning how to hairdo so that you're able to look good when you walk outside. You're also working on your own health so that, you look toned, your body looks toned. So these are the different aspects which you understand adds up to the whole final personality, which is you. So these kind of building blocks, smaller things. And the last card for today, Libra, you have is a message from the cosmos. And it says false narrative, discernment. Yeah, exactly. Discernment came in through the tweets as well. It says, be mindful of the story you're telling yourself. Having a negative narrative is destructive and simply not true. Stop listening to your ego-based story that is laced with falsehoods and old conditioning. For every negative thing you see, contrast that by saying 3 positive words. See the truth of who you are, which is wise, magnificent, and radiant. And this is very important. While it's important to be very much aware of yourself, your capabilities, having that clarity, then that's very much important. Because over here, there is an image of some kind of a mask. It feels like this person has like some kind of a mask worn. There's red color nose and eyebrows and all of that. Looks like an external appearance, right? A mask, some kind of a story that we tell ourselves, or illusions that we live in, but they're very far from truth. So I feel that there is some kind of an old pattern or some kind of a self-doubt, some kind of a belief system that may be kind of, deluding you or kind of changing the way that you look at a certain situation or look at yourself. So I do feel that if you are judging yourself harshly, like I'm this, I'm that, and all of that, I feel that you need to just shift that narrative here, Libra. You need to change your perspective. You need to be able to filter out those thoughts, that negative thoughts, the worries, the illusions that sometimes our mind does create those, because we want to think, we want to assume things like a certain type of way, or we kind of feel vulnerable, we kind of feel like not good enough sometimes. But I feel that any kind of negative pattern, negative thinking that's coming here, that needs to go. Because you are way much more than what you see yourself as. So see yourself as how capable you are, how much you got going for yourself. There is a little bit of fear in the projection, in the mask energy. So I feel that you need to, remove yourself from those assumptions, old narratives, old conditioning, old things that you tell yourself, and see yourself for who you are, your strengths, how far you have come, how much you're able to, how much you've accomplished, not just accomplished, at an inner level, the beauty that you are, not just the aesthetic beauty, but, how much you are, a value add to the world, to the family, to your friends, and all of that. So things that allow only those thoughts, Libra, to enter into your mind that are supportive of you, that are growth mindset, that instill confidence in you, that empower you, that, appraise you, that praise you, that appreciate that appreciate you, So elevate yourself in your eyes, and all these masks and all these worries and all those illusions will just fall away. I think it's just a small thing. Maybe you're just like burnt out, or maybe I don't know what's going on. You just need to, I feel, with the Triggs energy, you have a lot going on for you, and with that Empress in the reverse, you've done too much. It's time to look after yourself. So you might be feeling a little depleted and seeing things, and, these thoughts are common, especially when we're tired and we're like, the Libra energy that wants to do so much. When you rest, you feel you're doing less, and you're like, I'm not doing anything, haven't done anything yesterday and today, I'm just resting and, not creating anything. So these kind of thoughts do creep out for the Libra archetype. So just be mindful of these thoughts, Libra. So those were your messages, and hope they resonated with you. So the first card you have, Aquarius, for today is the Death card. Now this is major arcana. This is the energy of 8th house, which is Scorpio, of transformations, of endings and new beginnings. Things, And this is natural. I feel this could be your energy. It could be a general worldly energy also, at all given times, at any era, decade, year, we see that things are transforming, changing, whether it's us, whether it's our taste, whether it's the environment around us, or it's the institutions around us, whether it's the market policies around us, or whether it's geopolitical policies and announcements and how things are done, the institution, financial, all of that keeps changing at all times. Why? Because it's part of evolution. Like policymakers, they will create one policy. If it doesn't work, they create a policy, they implement it, they see the results of it, and then they finally analyze, like, did it work, in the way that it was meant to? If not, then let's go for a change. Or if the societies aren't benefiting from a certain policy, then the entire team comes together and they want to shift it so that it actually helps the economy, helps the people, So these kind of changes and is part of evolution. And so similarly, it's for us as well. Here, if you see the figure, like there is a skeleton right beneath, and then there's wings. Sorry about that noise. So yeah, if you see the figure, the picture, there is like, the faces aren't visible, it's only skeleton, but the skeleton is visible. Yes, there are wings. There's a lot of plutonic energy out here, of changes. And I feel that this deck, it is not like a... Sorry about the noise, guys. So, yeah, basically, the energy of this is not like, grim like the traditional right away. This is like a celebration of evolution. Like things which are not meant to be, things which are not real, things that are not aligned with the soul purpose, things that are not aligned with our core identity have got to go. Or like, for example, if you have like a company, and I've heard this from a lot of people, like those specifically the entrepreneurs, they create companies, but the final values of the company, the people and all of that feels like out of alignment. People are not getting along together. The products, the final products are not in alignment with what initially thought it would be, or something like that, So that has got to go. What will you do with the company that's not aligned, from start to finish? That's got to go. And once that goes, the lessons that are learned are now integrated, and that becomes the core of you. And from there, when you start, you create something which is fully aligned with your heart and soul. So a stripping away, but it's a celebration, It happens, with age, with time, with place, with company, with situation and circumstances. We evolve, and we evolve into versions that we have never thought we will evolve into, where people, places, situations fall away. Our thinking changes, our perspective changes, our ideologies, belief, and faith system, all of that, it undergoes a transformation. Things that we thought were real, sometimes, with a period of time, when we look closely or things show their true colors, we feel like, it's not aligning with us anymore, and they have got to go. Some habits, things that are not aligned with our healthy selves, they have got to go. What we eat, what we drink, and all of those, it could be so many things. Our association with clubs, institutions, and bigger structures, financial structures, educational structures, we don't want to be a part of this company. We don't want to work for this company, or we don't want to learn a certain subject, or we don't want to go to this college, or, things like that. And nothing wrong with that. I feel the generation today is more open in talking about these things, how things ended, why they ended, what were the losses, how. Now, for some of you, you could be working in companies that's going through major restructuring. It could be structures outside, physical structures, infrastructures, or homes that are being demolished and the land being repurposed or reused, or buildings being reconstructed or something like that. It could be that as well, like, areas and neighborhoods that are not really, that have been abandoned are now being reused. The land is being repurposed for some different community coming up over there. Similarly, the past buildings and factories of the olden times, those could be being demolished, or you could be doing that. You could be, taking down your house and reconstructing it again. And this is like something that has to happen, at a regular, periodically, because that's the growth, that's the evolution, not just in our personal lives, but also across the world. So it's not really an ending. It's a beginning of something which is more refined, more advanced, more meaningful, more relevant in today's times. Because otherwise, if we just stay stagnant at where we were like 20 years back or 10 years back, then how do we survive in today's fast-moving times? So this is that evolution, and also things that we do out of fear. Like sometimes we have to fit in, sometimes we have to perform what we're not. So all of that being stripped away because you feel that it's not aligning with you anymore. You can't be who you are not at the soul level. That realization itself leads to, the way we talk, the way we behave, the way we do things on a day-to-day mundane level also changes once we realize that, we're living somebody else's life, or we're living a fake reality. Especially in the times of, social media and all of that, we tried to kind of, try things, absorb things, use things, be things, that we're truly not, So I feel that is getting stripped out, and that's a healthy thing, because now we don't have to perform, we can just be. And people that are like us, that are aligned with us, our taste and our own personalities will invariably come together. And people that are not aligned with us, that have different tastes, that have different interests, will find their own soul tribe, So, like, for example, if you're not interested in nightlife, and you're hanging out with people just for the heck of it, how long can you sustain that? Not for too long. So eventually you will fall out, or you will skip those meetings and meetups that are, at nightlife or after the late nights. You won't enjoy that, and because that's not you at the core. And eventually your friend circle will shift, and you will align with people that are aligned with your interests. Like maybe you like to surf, or maybe you like to, maybe you like to hike. So you're going to be more aligned with those people, yeah? If you're a morning person, you will align with people that are out there hiking in the morning times, and things like that. So this is just natural, Sometimes we explore, sometimes we try to fit it in, depending on our situation and circumstance, while sometimes it's necessary to get by those days. Like, for example, if we go to a university, right? And then and there's hardly I would say, just a few people that are there in the boarding school, and the others of them are just local to the, the city or the town. And you are living in the dorm, and then your room partners, the people that you share accommodation with, they are very different. But then sometimes we gotta just go hang out so that, we're just trying to gel together. We're trying to just, keep the harmony, and we just want to be there, get by those days, because what else, So, yeah, for those moments, we kind of, pretend like we like a certain type of life, pretend that we enjoy this because we just want to fit in. We just are trying to find our tribe. In those moments, it is very much understandable, but it's hard to keep sustaining that. So these are those moments when you feel like, I'm just not able to sustain something that I'm not, and that's got to go away. So it's that moment where you feel lighter, you feel like yourself back again, and nothing wrong with that. The only caveat with the death energy is to not be very loud about it, like, oh, you know what, I completely dropped that, or I'm completely starting a new chapter. Whereas, emotionally, you're still attached to the past, or attached to the past situations, or attached to the past version of yourself, whereas you're claiming to be somebody who, you have become, whereas people are not seeing that line up. Like you're saying, oh, you know what, I'm interested in reading so much, but nobody finds you reading anything. So pretense is got to go away, and the more realistic version of you is now blooming, which is what exactly this energy, this deck is all about. I feel that it celebrates change, it celebrates even the roughest of the times. There is an underlying energy which we miss, the positive energy. And there's this blue light, at the chest, at the skeleton of it, which shows that there is the soul of you, which is untouched. At the soul level, you're still who you are. Only the external facade sometimes gets stripped off, and what remains is, on what sustains and what's been driving you, what's been going is who you are at the inner core, which is now ready to be shown to the world. So it's just that portal, that energy, we need to, embody that, I'm not the person that you thought I was. This is who I am at the bare bones. It's that moment of realization that enough of pretending, enough of being somebody else and wearing masks. I'm going to show who I truly am. Not immediately. One thing at a time, one step at a time, so that people don't feel like, what's happened, overnight. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time. It's a Plutonian energy. Pluto is a slow-moving planet. It takes time. But the transformation is there, and it's real, and it's celebrated, and it's for your benefit. The next card you have, Aquarius, is the card of woman. Now, this is a very, very interesting card out here. If you see, there is this woman, she's leaning, or she actually has become a part of this tree. The tree's leaves and the canopy upstairs, up, looks like her hair, part of her hair. So it's like she is part of nature. She's part of the ecosystem, this natural ecosystem. And that's exactly where we are from, right? We have the same composition as the trees, except that we have a brain that thinks, but nevertheless, trees are also very smart. They have all those the chemical things that make the food. So there is intelligence out there. There is ancient intelligence. There is, and also the root networks. The tree root networks have been studied. And how they support each other, how they support the ecosystem, how trees support the neighboring, and everything has been studied. And it's very similar to what we are as human. In the way we connect and our body, the wings and all of that. So it's like quite similar out there. So I feel that, especially for the Aquarian energy, which is 11th house archetype, it's about very cerebral, thinking, networks and thoughts, and you're the air sign. So I feel that, and you're the fixed air sign, it's like fixated on systems, on humanitarian things, creating networks, the geeks, and creating new systems, and all of that is the Aquarian archetype. So I feel that here the energy is more like about, being a part of nature. We're not different from it, and we are integrated with the nature. We are not something different. This human has been shown as integrated with the tree, with nature. So I feel that it's about understanding that aspect of life, that we are part of this natural system, the ecosystem, which is a little bit different, tangent to what the Aquarian energy is, as compared to, the Aquarian energy is about intelligent and thinking and new ways of being and all of that. So this energy is a little bit counterintuitive to the typical Aquarian energy. This energy is asking you to be more connected to your body, more connected to what your body is telling you, your body's intelligence versus your cerebral intelligence. What are you feeling? Is your body giving some signs? Or do you need to spend more time outdoors, versus on the computer, or versus in labs and in systems and in research systems? So maybe you can get some information from there. Maybe, it's like people who have studied the root network, they compare it to the neurosciences, like how the ecosystems communicate with each other, how the birds communicate with each other is actually being studied more than ever. So some of you could be in those research areas, but there is like a similarity between how humans are and the evolution of nature as well, from Homo sapiens or monkeys or apes or whatever that was, our origination point. We have come from nature as well. Our chemical composition, water in our body, how 70% water in our body, and all of that is the same thing as nature. So we're not separate. It's just the way we look at ourselves. Yeah, there are things that we do differently, but nature is also very much similar. Even the animal kingdom, the bird kingdom, all of them, the way they talk, they communicate, the base of it is all, there is similarity in all of that. So I feel this energy is asking you to pay attention to what your body is trying to tell you versus being totally on the analysis side of it. Trust more in your intuition. Trust more into what your body is telling you, what your senses are telling you. For some of you, you could be involved in natural practices or nature-based practices. Maybe eating like nature, plant food, or walking eye in the nature, or doing something connected. Maybe gardening, maybe soil, maybe agriculture, maybe cooking, maybe woodwork. All of those for natural things. You might be taking to that breath work and integrating more of nature, nature's wisdom, nature's philosophies and theories and networks and existence, and integrating it with your lifestyle. So there could be a change in the way you're doing your mundane things. You might be investing more time into learning about nature or natural practices, or studying nature, or in forestation, or studying or researching up about nature and human commonalities. Maybe something spiritual also is possible. Like you could be into spirituality, seeing the similarities between human and nature. So a little bit of spirituality as well. So some of you might be leaning into spirituality or spiritual practices. So yeah, it's like, some of you might be even looking more into your health, your physical health. You might be into wellness routines or exercising or jogging outside, paying more attention to your health versus being consumed by just work and inventions. So there is a shift in your understanding and in your commitment towards taking care of your body and understanding the similarity between the human systems and the ecological system. Some of you might be working towards the ecology and working more towards that. So I do feel that you're more grounded in your approach, in the way you do things. You are being more present. You have, more ancient wisdom embodied. It's like connected to the older things, the ancient things, maybe family history, heritage. You could be reading up about that, or rooted in those cultures and those ideologies. So it's like a different presence about you, feeling like an elder, like, that is more in touch with the nature, who's more grounded, who's more rooted in reality, versus or living up in your head or in the clouds or in technology. You're more like being grounded and earthy kind of energy. You might have some earth placements as well, but it doesn't have to be. This could be a shift in your perception. For some of you, you could be invested in some nature systems, like even technology for the nature, like latest agricultural systems or latest land-based architecture and things like that. Technology that you could invest into earth, nature, and things like that. So some of you could be kind of balancing those aspects as well. And the last card for today, Aquarius, you have is a message from Cosmos, and it says abundance, security. Further, it says money is energy like anything else. You want it to flow and not feel trapped. Trusting that the universe will take care of you gives off the energy of abundance and expectancy in every dollar you receive. Know that you are supported and the money will flow. Yeah, it's the energy of trusting that the universe is caring for you. It's also about not hoarding money. More money as an energy is best when it works best for us when it's already in motion. And this person is having these shopping bags. And so obviously they're spending the money, and they're spending it on things that they really like. So it's not that the energy of money is something that is away from you, Aquarius. It's already there. And I feel that you might be thinking of something different. You might be, fearing like what's going to happen? Will I be taken care of? How will my expenses be met? And all of that. And that actually puts you in a scarcity mindset, the Five of Pentacles mindset, those fears that you don't have enough, or how are you going to meet those needs? And the universe is saying, let go of that mindset, just live your life. You're being provided for, just thank the universe that it's taking care of you, and it will continue to take care of you at every step. So I feel that it's just a fear and the scarcity mindset that you're coming from, and which is not really needed, because you already have the finances to, shop around and, buy whatever you want. So you just need to trust that the universe is going to provide, and also trust your own self that you can create those opportunities to bring in that financial abundance. You have the skills. You're an Aquarian energy. Aquarian energy is all about, you're the geeks, the technos, the upskilled, and, knowing what you know and upskilling at all the times and keeping up with the latest and the greatest that's out there, the state of the art is, I would say, an Aquarian energy as well. So with all of that, it's just a matter of how you recognize, just have confidence in your skills, in your abilities, and in your ability to support yourself, to create the financial abundance. So there is definitely an energy of success and of growth and the confidence. Look at a person, how confident she is with the glare and all of that, and the coat she's wearing. There is a level of confidence that she's exuding, and she's walking in a beautiful place. There is palm trees and lights and all of that. So there is a success of some level, So you do, you have come a long way. You definitely have a reserve and abundance, which you probably are just fearing that it will run out, I feel. So you just have to release that mindset right now, Aquarius, because that will just make you come from a fear base. You'll make decisions from fear. Right now, you don't need to be in that energy. You just need to create opportunities for yourself. Don't limit yourself. Go here, there, everywhere. Make the right choices that will bring in more money. Be open to newer experiences, to blessings. Clean those blessings. And the prosperity is just right out there. You're living it. You're experiencing it. And I feel that prosperity is nothing but the energy of, the hard work meeting the universal blessings. When those meet together, that's what prosperity is. And I feel just being thankful for what you have and for everything that the universe has given to you, the skills, the resources, everything. You're in a good position right now. So just be thankful for that, Aquarius. And so those were your messages, and hope they resonated with you. So thank you guys for joining. Please subscribe and hit the like if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye for now.